The critics loved HBO's adaptation of The Last of Us. Audiences turned out to see that Spider-Man kid in Uncharted, and that Ratchet Clank movie was definitely a thing that happened. Which means that the next big video game adaptation from Sony is gonna be Gran Turismo? And it's based on a true story? What? Okay, look, we did one of these EGM Ranks episodes when Twisted Metal got a show, so I figure that we might as well see what Electronic Gaming Monthly thought of Gran Turismo back in the day. Now, in case you're wondering, EGM reviewed 5 Gran Turismo games between 1997 and 2008. That includes everything from the original game right up to the 2007 release of Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. Of course, they did not get a chance to cover Gran Turismo 5 through 7 along with the PSP version in Sport because those came out after the magazine folded. However, to keep things interesting, we're going to include the 3 unrelated PlayStation games made by Polyphony Digital, including the adorable Toon Grand Prix. You see, what we're going to do today is count down the best and worst Gran Turismo and Polyphony Digital games using Electronic Gaming Monthly's own words and scores. There's no editorializing here, we're just going to focus on what the critics said back when these games first came out. So get ready to earn your virtual driver's license because you're definitely gonna need it when Electronic Gaming Monthly ranks Gran Turismo and Polyphony Digital games.
You know why you're here, so where were you?
I told you.
You don't want to change your story?
No, I took a TVR Cerebra.
Ran the Nissan Skyline and a Toyota Supra.
That's right.
And you spun the TVR.
Yes!
There's no record of a missing TVR or a crash with a Skyline or a Supra that night.
Do you want to change your story?
Alright, we're gonna kick things off with number 8, Tourist Trophy on the PlayStation 2. I've never ridden a motorcycle, but from playing Tourist Trophy, it must be hard as hell. I like manual gears, so that and 2 brake buttons, a crouch button, and the analog stick, I could be hitting up to 5 inputs at once, and still wishing that I had an analog trigger for the gas. Tourist Trophy is an incredibly technical racing game and a well-executed vanity project that will appeal to a very small group of people. It feels a whole lot like Gran Turismo, but it's even less forgiving on the track. I can see how some players really appreciate that, but if you're looking for an actively fun racer, this isn't it. Number 7, Gran Turismo 5 Prologue on the PlayStation 3. I say Prologue is a demo. It lacks enough tuning options to keep the hardcore gearheads interested, doesn't have enough content for casual fans, and the online options are elementary. In a gen when multiplayer features are becoming very relevant to a game's longevity, Prologue manages to feel last century. Offline, only 2 of the 6 tracks offer a real challenge against some very impressive AI opponents. It's still a great racing game if you want to be a beta tester. Otherwise, wait until the real Gran Turismo 5 arrives. Number 6, Toon Grand Prix on the PlayStation. I was all set to dislike this game when I first saw it, but I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised. The tracks are long enough to be interesting, with a number of visually entertaining backgrounds and environments. The inclusion of the sometimes wacky power-ups and weapons makes for even more interesting play, especially the ability to jump and increase the size of your car. The cartoon graphics might take some getting used to, but this is a solid racing title that any fan of video racing is sure to enjoy. Number 5, Omega Boost on the PlayStation. Wow, shooters have been getting gradually more impressive on the PlayStation, but this is the best looking one yet. The team behind Gran Turismo really knows what they're doing when it comes to graphics. Underneath all the flash is a pretty fun game too, although it does get really tough. Sometimes everything's moving so fast and there's so much of it that it's difficult to really know what's going on. Number 4, Gran Turismo 4 on the PlayStation 2. If you've been a disciple of the Gran Turismo School of Motorsports for the past 7 years, playing Gran Turismo 4 makes you realize just how incredibly ahead of its time the original game was back in 1997. To date, no other driving simulation on console systems even comes close to what the Gran Turismo franchise has accomplished. But has top dog status made developer Polyphony Digital complacent? For your average couch driver who will never have a wheel set up, Gran Turismo 4 does feel somewhat like a car roster update. The opening of the game is still dragged down by the seemingly endless license tests, computer opponents still lack decent AI, and the Axed online mode is a criminal shame. The absence of real car damage modeling also makes Gran Turismo 4 feel oddly dated despite its state-of-the-art looks. Number 3, Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. Get used to this quote, because you're going to hear it a lot. Gran Turismo is the best racing game of all time. Gran Turismo is loaded with so much depth, so many options, so many cars, so much variety. It just literally destroys anything that's come before it. Except for the lame fact that many of the cars still have their Japanese names and likenesses. Aside from that, however, Gran Turismo just rocks. Number 2, Gran Turismo 2 on the PlayStation. Polyphony Digital never ceases to amaze me. After churning out Gran Turismo, my favorite game of all time, they released Omega Boost, one of my favorites of 1999. And now Gran Turismo 2 is perfection all over again, and I don't know how to thank them enough. Unfortunately, Gran Turismo 2 does have a couple of bugs that slipped out the door, but the realism and sheer joy of driving and modding your own car remains unsurpassed. Ooh, I shudder at the thought of Gran Turismo 2000 in March. And finally, at number 1, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec on the PlayStation 2. Gran Turismo 3 isn't just about the beautiful graphics or the huge roster of cars or the sense that the Gran Turismo mode somehow nurtures your driving skills and invigorates your racing spirit. These are elements any great driving game should have. What I truly love about Gran Turismo 3 is the fact that each car feels all its own. Since GT mode now classifies races by car models and types, you end up learning the subtle nuances of each ride. The game's weakest point is its AI, as it still forces me off the road in pursuit of its pre-scripted race lines. But look, Gran Turismo 3 is, at this point, the best racing game ever made.
I'm looking for nail clippers. Do you have nail clippers? You know, nail clippers? Clip. Yeah. This is exactly what I need.
Rated E for everyone.
Hey, thanks for watching us counting down these Gran Turismo reviews. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new EGM Ranks episodes almost every week. We have a whole playlist full of these episodes, including Ridge Racer, Mario, Zelda, Sonic, Batman, Resident Evil, Castlevania, Armored Core, and so many more. I mean, just dozens more. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite Gran Turismo game? Also, should Polyphony bring back Motor Toon Grand Prix? Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. After doing so many Gran Turismo games in a row, I'd love to see the company tackle a Motor Toon sequel that really takes the silly, cartoony racer seriously. I'm talking about tuning and customization and deep modes and hundreds of cars and just the whole works. Make it the ultimate cartoon racing game. In other words, we'll be back tomorrow with a new episode of Nintendo Switch Online Review Crew. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.